So we're going to dive a little deeper into these enlightenment states of the transcendent self and the unitary awakening. And then go back into that room and do a group forming the source code meditation base, introducing the meditation, and then following that with the contemplative element designed to create the unitary state, which is the pouring of the transcendent self into all phenomenon, all objects, everything that arises moment to moment in space-time and creation. And the recognition that they are, although different dimensions or spheres, held together in a greater unity, of which they're not separate within, which is the non-dual oneness of enlightenment or awakening. Not to be confused with the confused New Age postmodern notion of oneness, of some type of egalitarian, homogenized human condition. So the transcendent self is discovering that self within us that is ultimate, that is absolute. And absolute as distinguished from relative, right? Relative changes. Everything in space-time changes, right? Do you think of anything in space and time that doesn't change? So it's relative. It's in relationship to each other. And it's impermanent. And that's what we generally mistakenly link our very awareness into. We mistake the objects arising within awareness for the awareness. We mistake the body-mind as our center of gravity or being, when in fact there's something in us that's aware of our body-mind. But that awareness somehow gets lost in the body-mind because the awareness, that which is aware of the body-mind, is so pathetically obvious that we don't even notice it. It's like a fish swimming in water, having no clue that there's water. And it's represented in language with I am. I am is the symbolic language that points to something in us that's deeper and more primary within us than all of the things that we've ever thought we were, including a body-mind, let alone the specifics or circumstances of your body-mind and how it resides or abides in the world. There's something that's been aware of all of that, and it's the only thing that's never changed. You've always known that you were you. But that, if that you becomes identified with the body-mind, it's changing. But that you that's aware of it is unchanging. And so it's important to understand that consciousness, as the great physicist Schrödinger said, is a singular to which the plural is unknown. And the plural is unknown because there's no plural. Consciousness is a singular. And that one consciousness is the same consciousness that you're perceiving these words with, and you're perceiving these words with, and you're perceiving these words with. So consciousness is not created by the brain. That's a profoundly reductionistic mistake of most Western modern neuroscientific models. And it is not logical, and it does not hold up under the weight of deep philosophical inquiry. There's nothing that you can declare that becomes known or declared within a subjectivity that is primary to whatever it is that you declared. The only way a neuroscientist knows anything about what's going on within the brain is because it arises within their field of consciousness. And there's no way to get around that, ever. In this precious human body, the brain is related to how much of that consciousness we can apprehend, how we filter that consciousness, how we transduce that consciousness. But it's not created, it's modulated by the brain, not created by the brain. So consciousness is a singular that is sewn into the fabric of existence. And your very consciousness is being donated from the primal I am. Your felt sense of being is am, which represents existence. And your I represents consciousness. And so in there, hopefully we can get a taste of that, as experiential taste of that, as a truth knowing. But in here we can also point to it intellectually. Because I can continue to ask you to describe your I to me, and if you continue to take the layers off, and each layer you will realize the same I is witnessing the next layer, and the same I is witnessing the next layer, and the same I, until there are no more layers. And then the I is unbounded, borderless, timeless, eternal, always, already, ever present consciousness. And consciousness and beingness are two sides of the Godhead. And that's now even being let in Western neuroscience and Western cosmology. There's a whole field called Panpsychism that is starting to gain a lot of traction with academic scientists that have had to admit that the reductionistic models that the brain creates consciousness you cannot reach that conclusion logically, because you can never eliminate the subject that every bit of that research arose within, which is primary and primal and precedes the actual research or objective knowledge or empirical studies.